Africa was colder, drier, and harder to live in. This was around marine isotope stage 6. Food inland may have become less predictable. Then the coastline offered something different. Not a paradise. A survival machine. At Pinnacle Point, the clue appears in stone. The site sits near Mossel Bay, South Africa. A cave looked over the Indian Ocean. Inside were shells, tools, pigment, and hearths. The question is simple. Did the sea help humans survive? The famous number is 164,000. The Nature paper gives plus or minus 12,000. Later work refines nearby layers differently. The point is not one perfect year. It is the deep age of the behavior. Humans were already eating from the coast. That makes PP13b a key site. Not because it has one shell, because it shows a repeated food strategy. It appears beside early pigments. It appears beside bladelet tools. Food, tools, and symbols meet on one coast. Shellfish do not run away. They do not hide like antelope. They wait for the tide. That makes them predictable. Predictable food changes, survival math. The site preserves many marine invertebrates. Brown mussel was especially important. Giant periwinkle also appears. Limpets appear too. Rock pools became food shelves. The ocean placed protein in one visible zone. That is powerful during climate stress. The sea was not always open. High tide hid the food. Low tide revealed it. Daily low tides mattered. Monthly spring tides mattered more. The best gatherers knew the timing. They did not need a clock. They needed moon memory. They needed safe footing. They needed wave awareness. A beach became a schedule. Survival became timing. Shells are heavy. Meat is useful. But carrying shells costs energy. Studies suggest short shell transport distances, usually around 5 to 10 kilometers. Beyond that, shells become a bad backpack, so distance to sea matters. When sea moved close, opportunity grew. When sea moved far, visits changed. This is why maps matter. The food was coastal. The people were mobile. The coast was not fixed. Sea level rose. Sea level fell. During glacial maxima, coastlines retreated far. One model says up to 90 kilometers. That is not a quick shell walk, but sometimes the coast returned closer. Paleoscape models track that movement. The study uses 1,500-year steps. A cave could become coastal again. Then occupation intensity could rise. The sea rewrote the neighborhood. The sea was only half the story. The land mattered too. The Cape region held many geophytes. Geophytes are underground plant foods. They offered carbohydrates. Shellfish offered protein. Together, they made a food package. The Agulhas Current helped rich coastal ecosystems. The Cape flora helped inland foraging. This was survival by combination, not seafood alone. A coast can feed many needs. Large animals were risky. Shellfish were slower. That does not mean easy. Rocks cut feet. Waves surprise people. Tides trap careless gatherers. But the reward was predictable. Children may have helped gather. Elders may have taught timing. Food knowledge could spread socially. A shoreline rewarded memory. That is a human advantage. How do we know they ate shells? Because shells preserve well. Meat disappears. Shells leave piles. Archaeologists call them middens. A midden is ancient trash with information. Species reveal shore types. Shell size reveals pressure. Burning reveals cooking or hearth activity. Location reveals transport choices. Layers reveal repeated visits. The trash becomes the testimony. Shellfish can be eaten raw, but fire changes everything. Heat opens shells. Cooking makes food safer and easier. Hearth lenses appear in the deposits. Burnt material helps identify occupation. A cave floor became a kitchen. Not a modern kitchen. A simple processing station. Eat some near the shore. Carry some back to the cave. The meal connected sea and shelter. The site was not only about food. Researchers also found pigment use. Some pigment pieces were ground. Some were scraped. The reddest pigments were preferred. That may point to symbolism, but we must stay careful. Pigment does not explain every thought. It shows repeated material choices. Shells and pigment appear together. Survival and meaning may have overlapped. Coasts fed bodies and maybe symbols. There were tools, too. The assemblage includes bladelet technology. Bladelets are small stone blades. That technology appears very early here. Tools helped process food. Tools helped work plants. Tools helped maintain daily life. Coastal living was not lazy. It required planning. It required timing. It required transport. The coast rewarded organized minds, who actually collected the shells. We cannot know each person, but gathering could include many bodies. Children could learn shallow pools. Elders could remember dangerous tides. Strong adults could carry heavier loads. Everyone could read the shoreline differently. This made food social. A tide pool became a classroom. A basket became shared survival. The coast trained cooperation. Not every food system is a hunt. Shellfish gave protein. Coastal foods also contain valuable fats, but no single food made humans modern. That claim would be too simple. Survival needs a package. Plants added carbohydrates. Fire added processing. Tools added efficiency. Knowledge added timing. The coast was not a buffet. It was a demanding resource system. That system may have buffered hardship. Now comes the big idea. Maybe the South Coast acted like refuge. A refuge is not paradise. It is a place that stays useful, even when climate turns rough. The model combines two resources: plant carbohydrates, coastal protein. Together, they reduce risk. This is a hypothesis, not a movie-style rescue scene. A slow survival advantage. Inland food moves. Herds follow rain. Plants fail in drought. Waterholes shrink. Predators compete too. The shore has its own dangers, but tides return on schedule. Shell beds stay in place. Predictability does not mean abundance forever, but predictability helps planning. Planning helps groups survive dry years. That is the coastal advantage. Old coasts often disappeared. Sea level buried many camps. That makes evidence rare. PP-13b survived because of elevation. It escaped some high sea stands. Caves protect layers imperfectly. Deposits can be altered. Researchers need careful methods. Dating needs multiple techniques. Interpretation needs caution. Rare evidence can change big stories. That is why this cave matters. Myth 1: the sea saved everyone. Evidence says something more careful. The coast may have helped some groups. Myth 2: shellfish were easy food. Evidence says tides required knowledge. Myth 3: humans suddenly became modern. Evidence shows many gradual systems. Myth 4: one food explains everything. Evidence points to combined resources. That is less dramatic, but more true. And honestly, more interesting. Morning begins inside the cave. Someone checks the tide. The moon memory says, go. A group walks to rocks. They watch the waves. They collect mussels. They collect limpets. They leave dangerous spots. Some food is eaten near shore. Some food goes uphill. Roots wait near the cave. Dinner is sea plus land. So what does sea saved mean? It does not mean a miracle. It means a buffer. A buffer against hunger. A buffer against climate stress. A buffer against moving herds. A buffer against uncertainty. The sea did not do everything. Humans still had to know it. They had to time it. They had to carry it. The system saved effort, not effort itself. Humans are strange land mammals. Most land mammals do not plan tides. Humans turned shorelines into calendars. They turned caves into stations. They turned shells into records. They turned distance into strategy. This is modern behavior in practice. Not modern clothes. Not modern houses. Modern as planning and flexibility. The shore demanded both. That is why it matters. But what if the coast moved away? The easy shell walk vanished. The cave became less coastal. Occupation may have dropped. Short visits may have replaced longer stays. People likely followed useful zones. That is, mobility, not random wandering. Movement followed resources. When coast returned, opportunity returned. The landscape was a moving puzzle. Humans survived by solving it. The sea taught patience. It taught timing. It taught warning signs. It taught children patterns. It taught elders authority. It taught cooperation. It punished mistakes. It rewarded repeated observation. The shoreline became a memory machine. Each low tide was a lesson. Each basket carried knowledge, too. Food was also information. So did ancient humans eat from the sea? Yes, at least by about 104,000 years ago. At Pinnacle Point, the evidence is strong. Did the sea save them? Maybe not like a legend, but maybe like a system. A system of predictable protein. A system of plant carbohydrates. A system of fire and tools. A system of maps inside memory. The coast did not save lazy humans. It rewarded humans who learned the sea.